Hello, everybody. How are you today? Let me know when you come on. I'm Teresa Rene. I'm from the USA, Atlanta, Georgia, and joining you today for another month. We're going to do a little painting today, kind of like we did last month. Hope you guys are doing well. Make sure to let me know when you come on and say hello. Drop a note in the comments. Let me know you're here. And love to know how you're doing and where you're from. And hopefully we have a good crowd today. I hope you guys are doing well. The weather here is excellent. It's beautiful. It did cool down a little bit, but that's okay. So anyway, just let me know where you're from and what the weather's doing in your part of the world. And make sure to say hello. And if you do happen to catch us on replay, make sure to put in #replay. Hey, Terry, how are you? So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Teresa Rene. I'm the owner of Decoupage Queen. We are the distributors for Pentart in the United States. And of course, I love using the Pentart products. They work awesome with our rice papers. And there's just really not much you can't do with the Pentart products. Hi, Cindy. How are you? It is a sunny day. I had to actually turn the heat on this morning. It was pretty chilly. And so anyway, I hope you guys are doing great. We're going to do this little bird painting. So this is the one that we're doing. It's a little fat bluebird. We're going to use the Pentart acrylic paints today. We are also going to finish the project using the new pigment fix and some of the metallic powders. Hey, Sue, how are you? So I'm going to turn, this is, again, last month when I did my painting, I had to really budget my time. And I need to do the same thing again. This time I did do a dry run last night. I know that I can do it in the time that's allotted, but I just wanted to make sure that I have enough time. So I am going to turn the camera down, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm working on. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. And I may just adjust a little bit. Adjust. Let's see. There we go. Hopefully that view is okay. Let me know if that's working for you. Okay. Hello, Baretti. Hi, Miriam. How are you? All right. So we're going to be working on this little bird painting. We are going to be using several of these paints, the acrylic matte paints. These are great. These are awesome. They're creamy. They're good for blending. So I really enjoy using these for painting these little scenes. We're going to, the colors that we're using, let me just tell you now. For the painting, we're going to be using Falcon Brown. We're going to be using beige. We'll be using indigo blue and khaki. And we'll be using earthy brown. And we'll also be using some of this. This is white. Normally I would use this one as well, but I'm almost out of this one and I didn't have time to go grab some more. The brushes that I'm going to be using are Sable, and they are small. They have some very small detailed edges. These are silver brushes, and they have some good, this is a number 4 brush, and they have just some nice chiseled tips for detail work. For the background, I am gonna do the background today, and I think I'm gonna use this Decor Chalky with the country blue just for the background, and I'm gonna do the background first because if I start mucking around with the background after he's done, then I might lose some of the details that I wanted to capture. So I'm going to go ahead and lay some paint down for the background. And I'm just using this little chalky paint for the background. So, and I'm just going to kind of go all around the perimeter of the bird. And it's okay if I end up touching him a little bit, because when I start painting the bird, then my edges will take care of that. And then I've drawn this branch down here, and believe it or not, I'm mostly just gonna kind of paint over that because I'll still be able to see those branches when I get to that part. And I'll still be able to work with it. So just to kind of create a little bit of a difference between the painting and the bird. And so that we don't end up with just like solid white canvas background. And it's easier. I find that it's actually easiest to paint the background before you do anything else. Because like I said, like when I get to this feathers, these little feathered edges here, that's going to be challenging to try to, if I have those feathered edges just right, it's going to be challenging to try to work around those edges if I did the background last. So anyway, just trying to, last time when we did the little bunny rabbit, I don't think we really spent much time on the background, but I'm going for a finished painting today. We'll see if we're able to complete it. Hey, Jill, I did actually, the dry run that I did last night, I was able to complete it, but I also have, I am going to be working in that pigment fix with the antique gold pigment powder. And I'm going to work that in. So I need to save a little bit of time to show you how that fits in to this little piece. So anyway, I'm just using, for the background here, I'm just using the Decor Paint Chalky in Off-White, which is just going to be a nice neutral backdrop. I could have chosen an acrylic color, but this was the exact right color for what I wanted to do. So no reason you can't mix a little chalk paint in. Plus I'm going to varnish the whole thing anyway. So it doesn't really matter if the finishes are slightly different, as long as I have, overall, I have the colors that I want. All right, so I'm going to take just a little bit of this country blue and just sort of sprinkle that in here as well. Not too much of it, just to give it a little bit of visual, to break up a little bit of that grayish, whitish, just a little bit. Like almost like a little cloud, but more like a kind of a watercolor wash. So let me know if you guys can hear okay. Everybody's, you guys are quiet again. I know sometimes when I do these paintings, it's just relaxing, can be a little bit relaxing to sit and watch. So please just get yourself a cup of tea or beverage, whatever it is that you like to unwind with. and just relax with me for the hour. We'll try to channel a little bit of Bob Ross maybe. Okay, so my background is done. That's all I'm going to really do. And it's very loose. I'm going to just take my hair dryer for a minute and dry it. And clean up my spot here. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Mini kitchen. All right. Okay. All right. And again, I'm not going to show you the dry run version that I did until we're completely done with this one. So. Yep, don't forget the happy clouds. That's right. Okay, so I'm going to start with the blue areas here first. And I'm going to break out a couple of different colors for that. This indigo blue. Let's put some down. And let's put down a little bit of this one. I like this color a lot too. This is country blue. This bird is actually called a blue tit. I'm not sure if I can say that or not, but I mean the bird kind. That is the name of the bird. And this is from a vintage image. You might have seen this bird before. It is from a kind of a classic vintage image. So I'm not doing anything from my own head here or anything necessarily spectacular. We're just trying to do the best we can with what we have. And so I just thought he was the perfect kind of amount of chubbiness, cuteness, and just looked like a lot of fun to work on. So that is what we're doing. With me just a minute. Let's get a little bit of this khaki color out. So I'm working with like a limited palette. So basically all the colors that I need for the bird itself are right here. And if I need anything beyond that, I will mix it from these colors rather than introducing something else. So we're gonna get started. And let's get this guy. I did, last night, I actually prepared my brushes and cleaned them really well. And then I also put a little bit of brush conditioner on them as well to make sure they were nice and smooth today. So sometimes they lose their shape, the brushes, and a little bit of brush conditioner will help. If you put it on and then kind of let it sit overnight, it will really help to give them their shape back. So that's what I did last night. And I'm gonna zoom in just for a while. Hopefully you guys can still see okay. Hey Rima, how are you? If you don't like the zoom, let me know, but I think it's just easier to kind of follow along and see what we're doing with the zoom. And I do have a little bit of work going on at my house in the background. I hope it's not too much of a distraction where they're actually painting the outside of my house today. And they are right outside the door here. So hopefully it doesn't get too loud in here. If it is, then I'll just mute and we'll just keep painting. So and we'll see what happens. My art teacher used to always fuss at me for not putting enough paint on my brush. So I'm trying to purposely grab more paint as I'm working. Sometimes if you get too much paint on there, you lose a little bit of control and your paint can start sliding around everywhere. So I'm just like opposite from last time. This time I'm putting in some of those lighter colors first, and then I'm going to come in with some of the darker colors and go from there. And the reason for that is because there's not really anywhere on this bird that is just going to be so dark that I want to block it in. The whole thing is pretty delicate. And so I'm trying to just establish like the dominant color here is the blue, because it is the has the most pigment in it, I guess. And so when you look at this bird, like you don't say it's an olive, cream chested bird with hints of blue. You would say it's a bluebird. So anyway, I'm just patching in some of this blue where I see it, and then we're going to work around it. Okay. And I will come up for air and check for comments after a little while. Let's see here. Good. Oh, can you hear me? You guys can't hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself. Let me know if you can hear me. I had a water bottle sitting right in front of my microphone. Oh, you can't hear the noise. Okay. Okay, got it. All right. Gotcha. I forgot I had told you about all the noise. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start some of this blocking in a little bit of this khaki color here and there, but it's more brown really than it is khaki here. So I'm going to have to come back and hit this again, but I did want to at least start laying a little bit of color here. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And clean some of that off. And then let's get a little bit of this mixed with a little bit of that, mixed with a touch of this. And maybe I'll touch more of that. There we go. And this is going to kind of be like our base color over here for this bird. So I'm going to block all that in. I do find these paints, if you mix them with a little bit of water, I find them to be extremely easy to work with, very blendable, almost comparable to when like the only thing that I have found, I have not actually found anything that's closer to painting with oils other than oils themselves. So if you wanted to start painting with oils, but were intimidated by it, these would be good ones to start with because they're affordable and they blend extremely well. Only thing with acrylics is you have a lot less drying time than you do with oils. So you sort of have to mix and blend on the go. Whereas when you're dealing with oil paints, it's you do have a lot of working time for blending and whatnot. Okay. So see how that here, the green underneath just gave it a little bit more depth of color when I layered this brownish on top. And that's kind of what I was going for. And then I'm going to take that same brown and I'm going to put it right in here before I layer a little bit more off-white onto it. So we're going to come in here and we're going to do the same thing up in his chest area. And then we'll layer a little bit of the lighter off-white color over the top of that. So lots of layering on this little guy. Okay, and then let's come in and let's come in and do a little bit around his head as well. And in here. So I know these colors aren't exact, but what I'm trying to do is make sure that I have a decent amount of underpainting so that when I start to lay the real color on top, I don't get a lot of white showing through. Because sometimes you can get, if you don't put on quite enough like base, you might get a little bit of that white canvas showing through. Okay. Go. Yeah. And then it's hard, like once you get it exact, like exactly the way you want it, it can be a little bit difficult to then go and rework it. Because you don't want to mess up what you just laid down. So, okay, so I wanted to get, let me start working on some of this blue in here because I've got some blue up here that I need to work on. And I'll just mix a little bit of that. So he's got a little bit of blue up in here, this dark blue. And then he's got some right here. And then he's got some right here. And then he's got some right here. And then, of course, he's got all kinds of darker blue down here. And his feathers. So we'll get some of that in there. And then, of course, if we get too much of it, we can always come back over it with the lighter blue. Totally fine. Okay. Pause for a minute, take a little sip. So I am going to be live again tonight over at my Facebook page, which is Teresa Rene Art. We're going to be doing a decoupage canvas bag. And actually, it's not a canvas bag. It's more like a fake leather bag, a makeup organizer. So we're going to at least start with that. We'll see how far we get, but that should be lots of fun. So join me if you're able to for that. And that's on my page at Teresa Rene Art is my Facebook page. That's where you can catch me twice a week, just doing my thing over there. And then I'm here once a month with Pentart. So that is my kind of my schedule with them. And we do different things here, so we have a lot of fun. It's usually a little bit different than what I do on my own page, which is great. All right. So just weaving a little bit more of this blue. Softening up a little bit as I go. This little bird has a little bit darker blue up here in his head. And so we're going to try to get as much detail, you know, as we can. But sometimes, you know, when you're working from a picture, you can only get so much, and that's okay. You have to be able to say, you know, let me do what I can do. And it doesn't have to be exactly like the picture. And sometimes some variations from the picture are just fine, because honestly, that's what kind of makes it your own, is when you give yourself the freedom to do things your way and give yourself the freedom to just be a little bit different or off script. You know, I think sometimes we get so caught up in perfection that it's difficult to see the bigger picture. There's my pep talk for today. All right, so let's work on some of these finer details here. I'm going to get my earthy brown out. Hi, Ari. How are you? Thank you for joining. Hope you guys are doing okay today. All right, so I'm going to get my little bit of brown on here. And I'm going to start working on some of this little brownish. And mine is not going to be exactly, again, we're not going for exactly like the picture. We're going to give ourselves permission to do it a little bit differently, which is totally fine. And I don't have my glasses on, which I really should. If I knew where they were right this minute, I would just quickly go get them, but I do not know where they are. Okay. All right, so let's work on his eyeball. And I'm just going to use, I'm actually going to use a little bit of brown mixed with blue. And that's giving me like a kind of a grayish blue color. And I'm going to stick that down right here. And then I'm going to come in with that same color right here underneath his eyeball. And then right in here, we're going to go just like that. And then I'm going to take a little tiny bit of this lighter blue and just come in right underneath, right there. And take a little bit of this white and come in right under his eye. And I'm gonna hit that with a dryer real fast. And then I'm gonna blend out just a little bit of like a muddy kind of grayish color. Kind of light, kind of grayish. And we're gonna hit this area right here just to kind of balance that out a little bit. Soften that out a little bit. Let's take some of this white and we're gonna lighten this up a little bit right underneath his eyes. Just like that. We'll take a little bit of that white and lighten up in here. Happy little eyeballs. Take that same color with a little bit more white. And we'll get that right in here. Lighten that up. There. And then we're gonna take this white, a nice little dollop of that white, and we're gonna drop that right there. Ever so carefully. Okay. Thank you so much, Araceli. Thank you for joining us. Thank you guys all for being here. This is one of my favorite places to be. I love coming over to the Pentart page and doing something different. And I have to say, like, if you haven't watched the creators on the Pentart page regularly, even if you don't, it's like I know a lot of them are not in English. Even if you don't speak English, Hungarian or whatever language the presenters are presenting in, I find you can still get a lot out of watching. Because sometimes when it comes to art, you know, sometimes you can just kind of watch and follow along without necessarily having to be talked through exactly what's going on. So okay. Okay, so now I'm going to get into, let me get into some of his belly area with a little bit of this lighter color. I'm just mixing beige with cream. I'll do a touch of green, just a touch. And come in along here and just do some little highlights. And then I'll do some more as well. When we start to wisp out some of those feathers. Oh, do a little bit more down here. Do a little bit more around the face, some up in here. So I'm just kind of pouncing a little bit of that color to blend it a little bit. And then we can do some up in here as well. Sort of softens it a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to take my khaki and stripe in some of these feathers, some of those details. And I think really it's just mostly that pure khaki color. Yeah, that's the color. That's the wrong color I grabbed there. Thank you, Rima. Thank you, thank you. Well, I've decided that I need to start doing this more and just getting and practice it more. So hopefully you'll see me doing this a lot more, because I'd really, really like to start incorporating more of my own paintings into some of my decoupage papers. And for me, it tends to be just a matter of like the time commitment involved. But, you know, I tell myself if I can do one of these in an hour, you know, it shouldn't take really that much time to paint some images for a collection. And I don't have to paint the whole scene for the collection. I just need to kind of mix it in with other graphics. So I am going to start doing more of it. I just think in this day and age, there's so much computer generated stuff out there that I'm starting to worry that we're going to lose the art, like just real artwork. And so I really want to try to cultivate that and encourage, you know, encourage people. And, you know, I did take lessons. You know, there are a lot of places online where you can take lessons also. So this is something I learned over several years of working with in an art school. You know, there are plenty of places that you can learn how to do it, and you only get better when you practice. So anyway, I'm going to really try to make an effort to to do more. All right, so now I saved like these little wispy parts for last. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have time to get to the branch today because I've got about 15 minutes left. I'll do some of the branch and then we'll kind of finish what I can do live with the last bit, which is the getting some of the pigment situation in here. Try to do some of his branch at least. And then I'll continue and we'll get this guy fully finished and we'll get a picture of it over to the Pentart folks so they can share it with you when we're done. We're mostly done. So that's pretty much the bird. That's pretty much the bird finished. I just have to work on some of the branches and the details and all of that. But we'll spend about 5 more minutes and then we'll switch over to the next part to show you. And of course, I gotta work on his talons a little more. And for that, I'm gonna need my glasses because it's super tiny. So I'm gonna have to find those glasses when I get to that part. Because some of those places are super tiny. And there is, believe it or not, there's a lot of detail in those talons. And I gotta make sure the color and the shading is right. So I definitely need my glasses for that one. All right, so I'll block this in a little bit and then we will switch over, but hopefully you enjoyed that. Watching me paint this little guy. You might see him again, maybe in fall, maybe not, we'll see. So anyway, I'm going to stop with him right there. Probably a little bit more work to do on him, but that's about all I have time for on this one. Let me switch gears for a minute. I'm going to turn this camera up and I will show you once I do get him finished, I will show you how I will go about framing him. I did prepare a special little frame and he's going to have his own little place. And oh, lots of goop on there. Okay. That is also the beauty of having a glass mat, you guys. So if you don't have a glass mat, I definitely recommend getting yourself one. Okay, so what I have done is I have this little frame that is, it is really just a picture frame. And what I did was I took out the glass because these little canvas boards, this is just a little 5x7 board, and it's going to fit perfectly inside. Okay. So, but first what I did was I added a couple of little details. It's not perfect, Terry, trust me. I could have really gotten in there if I had my glasses, but it's close enough. All right, so here is the pigment fix. I did add some details. I added like a little magnolia mold. And then I painted the whole thing with black gesso just to give it a nice primer because this thing was kind of shiny and gloppy. And the pigment fix would not go on there the way that it was. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix. This is the new Pigment Fix product, which is just gorgeous. And it works beautifully. And you mix it with, you can mix it with any of the Pentart metallic pigments or any of the pigments really. But they do have these metal pigments, which are real. They do have real metal in them. This one is one of the new colors, which is antique gold. And if you're in the USA, we will be getting these very soon. They're on their way. And I'll be unveiling it to the retailers here very shortly. But, you know, you might say, like, why do you need this if you could, you know, if you have like varnish or something? Well, unfortunately, because these actually do have metal in them, a water-based varnish is not going to work with this because it's going to quickly, like, and I've actually tried it before, it's going to turn green. And so this is a specially formulated that does happen to be water-based that is not going to tarnish something with real metal content in it. And Jill, I hope I explained that right. If you're still watching and there's something else that is relevant, please, by all means, type in anything that I've missed. But see how beautiful that is and how creamy. It's just, it's like liquid gold. And so we're going to paint this frame in that beautiful, beautiful antique gold color. Look how just magnificent that is going on. And that is going to be like the icing on the cake for our sweet little bird. So not only do you get a bird painting, you also get a beautiful frame. And I have to say, like, mixing that, it's extremely satisfying. It's like AMSR swirling all that pigment into that liquid. It's, I could just sit here and mix it all day. So I'm just going to cover the whole thing. You know, I'm not doing anything crazy because I do want the bird to sort of speak for itself. So I'm not trying to, I want just enough, you know, interest. It is, it really is. You know, and you have to play around a little bit with the mixture to make sure you're mixing enough pigment. The first couple times I did it, I wasn't mixing quite enough pigment into it. And then I was like, okay, well, when I added more, then of course, that's how you get this beautiful result. And so I'm really only probably going to need one coat for this. But it just looks like that it actually looks like they're to me it looks like they're liquid metal product, like gold leaf almost, but without the hassle, without solvents, without all that stuff that we don't like. So again, and I always say with Pentart products is like many different ways to achieve the same results or similar results. And to me, it's really about having options. And like sometimes if you're short on time, one option might be better than another. So the more options you can have at your disposal, the better. So that is what I wanted to show you. The metal pigment with the antique gold. Last night, what I did was I just took a couple of molds and I glued them on there with heavy body gel. And then this is going to be the perfect frame. I don't want to mess up my painting here, but this is going to be the perfect frame for my little painting. And I'll just zoom in on that so you can see how cute. And so we will finish up this little bird, and then I will get this guy staged and over to my friends at Pentart so that they can share the finished pictures. But thank you guys. Look, I mean, so we did this. I did this in an hour, and look what kind of amazing results you can get in 1 hour using all of these beautiful, beautiful products. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it more than you know. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. If you're able to come on and watch me later over at Teresa Rene Art, I'll be live at 6 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Eastern. I would love to see you there. If not, I will catch you here again next month. Thank you guys so much and enjoy the rest of your day. All right, take care. Bye-bye.